towards each other right now. The number one fight.
I don't know shit. Yo. Alright. Still no shit. Still no shit. Can you struggle to get respect away?
You know, it's funny. People are going to do what people are going to do. And it seems like people love making excuses. But at the end of the day, I'm sorry. Somebody gonna have to explain to me, if you go holler Kell Brook was weight drained and all this other stuff, first of all, or he, you know, if he was so much of a junior middleweight who's trying to dry himself out to come down to fight at 147, why did he come back down? Nobody told him to come back to 147. Matter of fact, show me anything where a fight where he had problems making weight, where he had to double back to the back to run off some pounds to be able to make weight on the scale. Show me one fight where he had to do that. Matter of fact, when did we start hearing this crap about him being too big for 147? We started hearing it when he had to fight Errol. That's when we started hearing that mess. And if you really want to be honest, him going up to 154 was always a payday. That's what that was. He thought he was going to be able to go up to 154 and make fights with Miguel Cotto and Canelo Alvarez. Those was 2 out of the 3 biggest fights he could make at that time was with Canelo and Miguel Cotto, and I'll throw in Amir Khan. And we know none of those fights materialized, but that's what he thought he was going to be able to get. He moved up. Now the Triple G thing, that was on Eddie Hearn, but he was already considering moving up anyway. So it wasn't a matter of him not being able to make 147. It was a matter of him wanting more money. He got $3.5 million to fight Triple G. Before that, his biggest payday was $1 million. And then then you thinking, hey, I can fight Canelo too. I'll get even more than that. After he took the loss to Triple G, he was already contemplating not fighting Errol. But he moved down and fought him. But he was already, before he even got in the ring with Errol, he was already talking about he should go up to 154 to try to fight Cotto and Canelo. You got to remember, Miguel Cotto, and which I ain't gonna front, he should have gotten that fight. That if he was going to move up. Miguel Cotto was the champ then. That's how Saddam Ali got the belt. That's how Jaime Munguia got the belt, because that dude don't deserve no one. Should have never had no 154 belt. He wasn't champion material, but he is a decent young fighter. But my point is, he was trying to get up there to get a hold of Canelo and Cotto, more established fighters that could provide bigger paydays. That would have been bigger than a Keith Thurman fight. Matter of fact, when he came back, remember he was coming back down looking for Errol? And he did the same thing to Terence Crawford, and his sister called him out. Let's see what she had to say about it.
You must be related to Crawford.
That's my little brother, and he don't want that smoke.
Oh. You disagree, though. I know you disagree with that.
It's his sister.
She's supposed to
do that.
He's saying he wants to smoke, though. He'll take it. I believe he has.
Kell Brook, that's exactly how he gonna do you, because you too little for him.
Too little?
That's my little brother. I'm his older sister, and he learned from me, baby. But guess what? You ain't about that mess.
I don't disrespect his sister.
Wow.
Shut the fuck up, man. You got no shit about boxing.
So how do you say he was weight drained and starved out and all this, that, and the third by Crawford when he was stalking these dudes, man? He was the one out there hunting them down at the fights. Yo, what's up? Let's get back in the ring, Errol. What's up, Crawford? Let's get back in the ring. He was stalking them. So that makes no sense. But I'm going to tell you what does make perfect sense. He went up to 154 and overplayed his hand. he went up to 154, and the targets that he had wasn't there anymore. Instead of Canelo and an old Cotto ripe to be picked, you got Charlo boys and them other killers up there, so he decided to move back down. That's what happened. So let's get rid of that. Now we'll deal with him being washed up part as we watch the fight. But let's talk about his chin real quick, because I got the feeling somebody's gonna be like, well, Kell, he couldn't take a shot. He was damaged goods. And I ain't go front. I do think he was damaged goods when he fought Errol. I do believe that. But you can watch some of my old videos talking about that. But the point is, I do believe he was damaged goods. Once you crack one eye socket, the other eye socket tends to crack too. So that's being damaged goods. Now, with that being said, far as his chin goes, can you show me him being knocked out? I mean, knocked out. Errol didn't lay him out, and Triple G didn't either. Matter of fact, Triple G didn't even put him on the ground. So, Kell definitely has a chin. Now, I don't know if Kell has heart, because truth be told, he quit in both those fights. Now, if you want to say his coaches did that, whatever. But the final results was a stoppage. But we go get beyond that. Let's talk about what's going on with him and Terence Crawford, because I do feel like Kell can take a punch. But let's see what happened in the ring. Let's see if Kell looks slow and old in the ring, as I keep hearing people suggest. Let's see how he fared that way.
Of what could happen in this fight that gives Kell Brook hope is that Bud Crawford at times has been a slow starter. In fact, Dre, the fight we did against Egis Kavaiaskis, Egis outlanded Crawford total punches over the course of the first 3 rounds. What should be Brook's approach early on?
Well, he can't get reckless, but he needs to start fast, start picking up that jab. I think Brook is realizing right now that Terence Crawford is a lot longer than he realized, and the space between, where he is now and actually hitting Crawford is a lot further than he realized. But yes, coming off 11-month layoff, being, a slow starter historically, the first few rounds, Brook wants to win those.
Now, the first thing I noticed when the two got in the ring is that Kell Brook hand speed, once they started actually trying to time each other out, Kell Brook hand speed was definitely comparable to Terence Crawford's. And we're going to see several examples of this in the first couple of rounds.
The time Crawford on the way in. Brook also has a great jab, a sharp jab, a strong jab. And you can see Terence Crawford trying to figure out how he can land his jab without getting hit. Another thing, Crawford typically comes out in the southpaw stance, but he came out in the right-handed stance, probably to confuse Kell Brook.
Man, I tell you, nice slip of the jab. Terence Crawford gotta have the best footwork in boxing. Watch his feet, man. We're going to talk about his footwork a lot in this video, but just watch his feet. Now, when you're fighting somebody that's both guys in conventional stances, your feet normally are apart from each other. But notice how close Terence's foot is to Kell's, and notice his lead foot is actually on the outside. Watch his foot positioning. It tells everything about what he's about to do. See how he's easing his lead foot inside of Kell's. When he's doing that, it's tipping off. It's tipping off when he's actually about to attack. Just watch. When you see that lead foot get inside Kell's lead foot, that jab or that straight coming. Now, as long as their lead feet are across, like straight across from each other, neither one of them really gonna be able to land that jab, because you can just smack it down. But as soon as you start stepping to one side or the other, that changes the angles. Now, Terence is going to play off of that. And actually, so is Kell.
He has power in either hand.
Just watch Terence.
He has finished guys, whether it is orthodox or southpaw. but in recent years, we have seen plenty of Crawford, mostly in the southpaw stance.
All right, this is a very good example of Kell Brook still having his abilities with him. Now, Kell faking the jab. Now, watch the footwork. Like I said, see how he stepped over? When he stepped over, that means he's firing something off. And he threw the right cross that time. Now, like I said, watch his feet. Now, Kell throws his jab. Terence switches levels, fakes, backs off. Both of them are up throwing fakes at each other. Terence throws a jab. Kell counters with a jab. Terence counters. Kell counters. Terence counters back. Now, just to be able to go into that sequence with Terence Crawford, just to be able to counter back and forth with him like that, shows that he still has his reflexes. So clearly his reflexes are there.
In the southpaw stance and wildly effective in doing so. Here he comes out as a righty. And there is that jab from Kell Brook as he goes to the body against the champ.
Brook jabbing extremely well right now, not just to the head, but as you just saw, also to the body.
There. Now, Kell Brook is boxing beautifully. He got his jab going. His defense is looking good. He can see most of Terrence's punches coming. I mean, you can tell he's very comfortable right now. And because he has his jab popping, other things are starting to feed off of that. He got his straight right coming in the mix, and you can tell he's trying to get his left his left hook into play also. And so I mean, everything's coming along just fine. Defense is looking good. Matter of fact, let's look at that sequence again.
Doubles up the right hand jab and then comes with a left. Good exchange here as he switches back to righty. Fascinating first round. Gonna take a short break.
Now Kell Brook, now watch this sequence where he hit Crawford with the jab. Now Crawford step in to try to hit him with a straight left to the body. A straight right to the body. Catches him or counters him. Counters him again, trying to come in, steps to the left. Crawford attacks. He pivots out. I mean, like, this is high-speed chess, man. Look at the head movement.
Back ringside here for round number 2 of our welterweight championship fight. Tim Bradley, in that first round, Kell Brook threw 17 jabs, effectively landed 6 of them.
Look, timing is what Kell Brook is special at. You know, he has a 69-inch reach. You have to understand that. He has the shorter arms in this matchup, but he knows when to throw his jab and at the right time, at the right distance, and at the right speed.
Funny to say that he doesn't have the reach. I mean, just look at the size advantage. Look at the size across the shoulders, across the back. Look at the muscles popping in the upper body of Kell Brook and the base he has as well, that foundation with the legs.
And see, what I noticed is that Kell Brook is taking a page out of Egis Kalayaskis. He's being patient. He's waiting. He's looking to counter Crawford. He's trying to get Crawford to commit so he can make him pay.
Jab is giving Crawford a lot of problems right now. You see him thinking, and Brook is doing the right thing. He's jabbing. That's the most important thing he can do right now because it sort of keeps him out of danger. It helps him to kind of create his range and where he wants to let his shots go, and it's also got Crawford thinking.
Now, the question is, if Brook was giving Crawford so much problems with his jab, and trust me, he was giving Terence problems with his jab, what is it that Terence did that counteracted that? What adjustment did Terence do? What adjustment did Terence make that swung the fight? Because clearly something had to happen for Kell Brook to have gotten knocked out. Well, let's see.
Power and scored an 11th round TKO with a broken left orbital bone suffered.
He's doing a lot of good things. He's countering off of off of Terrence's jab. He's slipping his punches. I mean, he's doing a lot of good things. He's blocking the shots. So clearly he's seeing Terrence's punches coming at him, clearly. Because you can't defend stuff you can't see. So in the conventional stance, clearly he had no issues with what Terence was bringing to the table physically. Terence wasn't too fast for him, wasn't too long for him, or none of that. So he was having no issues with Terence Crawford physically.
Right now it's a battle of patience. Neither fighter can afford to make a mistake, and as you see, Brooks stepped in just a tad bit, and Terence had combinations waiting on him.
Just fired off a right uppercut, did Kell Brook.
Brook has every punch in his arsenal. He has a strong left hook. He also has a straight right hand and a beautiful uppercut. And as you can see, his jab is giving Terence Crawford problems, and Terence goes southpaw.
That's the adjustment right there. And once he made that adjustment, it completely threw Kell Brook off. Which is something I don't quite understand, because Kell Brook knows how to switch hit himself and spars with people that switch hits all the time. For example, Billy Joe Saunders, before the fight, he spoke on the fact that he didn't think the fact that Terence Crawford could fight out of both stances bother Kell, because he should be used to it, because he spars people such as himself that can do it. But the angles change when you switch stances on people, and it doesn't seem like Kell could find the angles. And you could see him, like, look at him right there. You could, like, okay, when Terence was in, this is a great example right here. Matter of fact, let me back that up. Now here's the first different wrinkle that he didn't get before. He's coming over top of Kell Brook's jab. He's actually countering over top of Kell Brook. He did it 2 times in a row, right there. So now he got Kell Brook thinking. And on top of that, not only is he going to have problems with the angle trying to get his jab in unless he steps to his right, which he's not doing, the fact that Terence's lead hand is in front of his, he can basically smack his jab down if he really wants to, or just put his arm in the way. So now Kell is definitely having issues finding angles. Now with that being said, I'm not saying Kell can't find none, but it takes longer. He's having a harder time finding them, and it's messing with his response time when he's trying to counter. That's a problem, and a big problem at that.
Dominic Ingle, who has trained Kell Brook since the start of his career, but Ingle opted out of this world title fight due to COVID concerns, because Kell Brook trains in the Canary Islands for training camp. Ingle did not want to travel and then have to quarantine, nor come to the United States. So instead, Carlos Formento is the trainer in the corner of Kell Brook. First time they've ever worked together.
I'll tell you one thing that the southpaw stance has done. It's taken the jab away from Kell Brook. You see, he's not landing his jab consistently anymore.
Now, if Kell really wanted to establish his jab, he would step inside of Terence Crawford's lead foot. He's not doing that. And because he's not stepping outside completely of Terence Crawford's lead foot, his straight right is basically ineffective as well. So basically, in a nutshell, he's not able to find the angles, at least not quickly, and things is going downhill extremely fast. Extremely fast. Now, people said earlier before the fight, well, Kell Brook's size will play the difference. He should be able to impose his size and strength on Terence Crawford. Well, how? Because he's not that type of a fighter. That's not Sean Porter. That's not Errol Spence. He's actually a boxer. I know he has a great physique, but Kell Brook is actually a boxer and a counterpuncher at that. And at this point, Terence can just pick him off going forward, or he could counterpunch him either way at this point. But it all started from the angle. Kell, like, just keep looking at his feet. I'm going to keep emphasizing that. Look at his feet. He's throwing punches from the wrong side of his foot. He's trying to throw straights when his lead foot is on the inside of Terence Crawford's lead foot. I know you can't see his feet right now, and he's throwing his jab when his lead foot is on the outside. All of that stuff plays its part in trying to find the angles.
Youngest rising stars in the sport, Shakur Stevenson, saying he expects his good friend Terence Bud Crawford to pick up the pace here. CompuBox has Kell Brook 24 of 99 punches, Crawford 25 of 93. Shakur Stevenson will fight December 12th in this ring against Toka Khan Cleary. Shakur, the recent featherweight champion, now contending at 130 pounds, looking for a showdown for a belt here. Round number 4.
Crawford has to continue to get his lead foot outside the lead foot of Brook to have success with his offense. That will put him in a safe position to let his combinations go. Beautiful right hand. And the champ gets to him.
Now, actually, if you were paying attention, Timothy Bradley tipped that off. Watch what happens as as Terence Crawford lowers the boom on Kell Brook. Now, I ain't gonna front, man. This is some of the best footwork you gonna get right here. He fakes a straight right. He fakes a straight left and come over top of his jab. Like, that's beautiful. And once again, stand heavy on that on his left side. He steps over and check and throws one of the best check right hooks you will ever see in your life. And the beautiful thing about it, Kell Brook actually stepped into it. He timed that so perfectly. Perfectly.
Zaki, who's 44 and done. He's been stride for stride throughout his career. Check that hook.
This reminds me an awful lot of when Floyd Mayweather buried Ricky Hatton with his check left hook. I mean, the difference though is the angles. Terence did it from a left-hand stance, but if you watch them side by side, like a lot of people really didn't even recognize it was a check. It was a check right hook. But that's what it was. He stepped to the side and hit him with the check, and that was all she wrote.
What's up, man?
Yeah, good fight, man.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks,
Timing is good.
Thanks. Yours is too, fuck. That's why I had to switch. Like, goddamn, you got good distance. Good distance, man. Thanks for sure.
Yeah, it was a good shot.
Thanks.
One hell of a fight. Really good fight. Good timing, man. Yeah, you can pop as well, obviously.
I told you.
You can pop as well. I think the timing is more than the pop, though. You know, you obviously got great timing.
Terence Crawford's versatility and ability to be able to switch up and change game plans in the midst of fighting is what got Kell Brook beat, not the fact that Kell Brook was supposedly washed up or weight trained. That's pretty much all I got this here. Bustin' Boxing Fight Doctor. Hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Hit me up in the comment section and let me know. Did Kell Brook look washed up to you? I say no. But that's pretty much all I got. This here Bustin' Boxes on Fight Doctor. I am out.